My beloved child, stop whatever you are doing. Right now, do not scroll. Do not close this video. Do not tell yourself you will return later. Stay here, because this is not a coincidence. I need you to hear those words before anything else enters your mind. This is not random. This is not an accident. You did not arrive here because an algorithm placed this in front of you. You did not pause here because of luck. You are here because this moment was allowed to reach you. And I have been waiting for this moment long before you pressed play, long before today felt heavy, long before your thoughts became crowded and your heart learned how to carry more than it was designed to carry. I have been waiting, so do not move away too quickly. Not yet. Give me these next moments completely, because there is something I must place inside your spirit before this day continues. And if you leave too soon, you may miss the very thing you have quietly been asking for. You may not realize it yet, but something inside you has been reaching. Not reaching for entertainment, not reaching for another distraction, not reaching for another voice telling you to work harder. Stay stronger. Keep pretending. Something deeper, something hidden, something your own words have not fully expressed. And that is why I interrupted your day. Not to demand your attention, but to rescue it, because your attention has been pulled in too many directions. Your thoughts have become crowded. Your heart has become noisy. Your soul has become tired. And tired souls stop noticing when important moments arrive. That is why I called you here. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. This exact moment. This is a divine appointment. Not because everything changes in 1 second, but because sometimes one moment changes how you understand everything. And before this message ends, I am going to show you something. Okay. One truth. One realization. One understanding that may explain things you have questioned for a very long time. But I need you to stay until the end. Because if I reveal it too early, you will hear it with your mind. And I need you to receive it with your spirit. So stay. Do not rush. My beloved child, you have become used to moving quickly. You move from one task to another, one thought to another, one worry to another. You solve. You carry. You adjust. You survive. And somewhere inside all that movement, you stopped expecting moments like this. Moments where everything becomes quiet enough for something deeper to speak. You stopped believing interruption could be holy. You stopped believing that stillness could carry answers. You stopped believing that pauses could contain direction. But I tell you now, some things cannot reach you while you are running. Some things arrive only when you stop. That is why I am asking you again, stop whatever you are doing. Do not rush past this. Because what I am about to say next belongs to this season of your life. You may not understand why yet. You may not even realize what season you are in. But your spirit already knows something your thoughts have not accepted. You have felt it. That strange feeling, like something is shifting, like something is unfinished, like something important is close, but you cannot explain why. You tried to ignore it. You kept yourself busy. You filled empty moments. You stayed moving. Because slowing down means feeling, and feeling means facing things you do not always want to face. But today, I am not allowing you to run, because there is something too valuable ahead. And before you reach it, I need to speak to you first. Listen carefully. Not everything that appears delayed is absent. Not everything that feels silent is empty. Not everything that seems unchanged is standing still. There are things happening beyond what you can measure. And before this message ends, you will understand what I mean. That is the key. But not yet. First, I need you to become present. Not physically, Spiritually, I need your attention to return to this moment, because this moment has something your future needs. And no, I am not saying your life changes overnight. I am saying your understanding can. And sometimes understanding becomes the beginning of everything else. My beloved child, if you could see how many moments you have survived, if you could see how many times your story almost changed direction, if you could see how many invisible moments carried more meaning than you realized, you would not dismiss moments like this anymore. You would not move past them so quickly. You would stop and ask, why did this find me today? That question matters. Because this message is not chasing everyone. It is speaking to someone willing to remain, someone willing to pause, someone willing to listen, someone willing to receive. And maybe that someone is you. So stay. Do not leave yet. Do not let your mind tell you this is for another person. Do not tell yourself you already know what comes next, because you do not. The most important part has not arrived yet, and when it does, you will understand why this exact moment had to happen now. You will understand why I stopped you. You will understand why I waited. You will understand why your attention had to be pulled away for a few minutes. And when you understand, you will never look at this season of your life the same way again. So breathe. Stay. Listen. This is not a coincidence. Stop whatever you are doing. I've been waiting for this moment. And before this message ends, I will place one key in your hands. Do not leave before you receive it. My beloved child, now that you stayed, now that you did not walk away, I want you to know something before I say anything else. I have seen everything. Not only the parts people noticed, not only the moments you shared, not only the version of yourself you allowed others to see. I have seen the whole journey. I was there in moments no one else knew existed. I was there when the room was quiet, but your thoughts were not. I was there when your face looked calm, but your chest felt heavy. I was there when you sat alone and stared ahead, not because you were resting, but because you had no energy left to explain how tired you were. You wondered if anyone truly noticed. I noticed. You wondered if anyone understood. I understood. You wondered if heaven had become silent. But silence never meant absence. I was closer than you realized. I saw the nights when tears fell into your pillow and you quickly wiped them away before anyone could ask questions the next morning. I saw the mornings when getting out of bed felt harder than admitting. I saw the moments you said, "I'm okay," because explaining your pain felt more exhausting than carrying it. I saw the times you stayed strong for everyone else while quietly hoping someone would ask if you were all right. I saw all of it. My beloved child, I know the weight you have been carrying. Some of it has a name. Some of it does not. I saw the pressure of finances, the calculations, the uncertainty, the moments you opened accounts, counted expenses, delayed needs, and smiled anyway. I saw the hidden fear that whispered, "What if I cannot keep doing this?" I saw your health battles. Not only physical pain, but exhaustion, waiting, tests, symptoms no one else could feel. The frustration of looking normal while not feeling normal. The quiet moments where you wondered if things would ever feel light again. I saw betrayal. The kind that does not leave bruises but changes the way you trust. The disappointment of discovering that some people only stayed while things were easy. The pain of giving loyalty and receiving distance. The confusion of asking, how could someone I trusted become someone I no longer recognize? I saw that too. And I saw something else. I saw that you kept going anyway. You kept showing kindness. You kept showing up. You kept trying. Even when nobody applauded. Even when nobody noticed. Even when you thought your efforts disappeared into empty space. Listen carefully. Nothing was wasted. Not one silent prayer. Not one act of kindness. Not one morning you chose not to quit. Not one moment you continued when stopping felt easier. You thought heaven forgot. Heaven recorded. You thought nobody saw. I counted every step. You thought your waiting meant nothing. But your waiting was building something you could not yet recognize. My beloved child, there were moments when you believed life was pushing against you. Moments when doors closed, plans changed, answers delayed, and you quietly asked, "Did I do something wrong?" Hear me now. What you walked through was not punishment. You were not abandoned. You were not being ignored. There are seasons that look like delay but are actually protection. There are seasons that feel empty but are quietly preparing foundations. There are seasons where things seem unmoving while something deeper is being formed. You were not standing still. You were being strengthened, not rejected, refined, not forgotten, positioned. And I need you to hold on to this, because what comes next matters. The season you thought would last forever is ending. The confusion, the heaviness, the constant feeling of pushing against invisible resistance, it is not your permanent place. You are closer to transition than you think. But do not misunderstand me. The breakthrough is not coming because you suffered enough. It is coming because preparation has not been meaningless. What was hidden has not been inactive. What felt delayed has not been abandoned. And there is something I still need to reveal to you, something that will explain why certain things had to happen the way they did. Do not look away now. Stay with me, because what I am about to share next will change how you understand everything you thought was lost. My beloved child, now I want to show you something deeper, because I know you've been wondering, if God sees me, then why has nothing changed? I know you've been wondering why you keep praying and still wake up to the same problems. I know you're tired of trying to stay faithful while feeling like life keeps asking more from you than you have left to give. I know you've thought, if this season was supposed to teach me something, why does it feel like it is only draining me? Maybe you've been asking why other people seem to move forward while you keep standing in the same place. Maybe you've looked around and quietly wondered, what am I doing wrong? Listen carefully. You are not being punished. You are not forgotten. You are not standing outside of my care. But there is something you still don't see. You have been measuring this season only by what is happening around you. I have been working through what is happening inside you. I know you are exhausted, not ordinary tired, soul tired, the kind of tired that makes small things feel heavy, the kind of tired where rest no longer feels like recovery, the kind of tired where even hope starts feeling expensive. I know you've been disappointed, not because you expected perfection, but because you expected movement. You prayed, you trusted, you waited, and yet some mornings still looked exactly the same. I know you've thought, how much longer? And maybe the hardest part was not the delay. Maybe the hardest part was feeling invisible inside the delay. But hear me, what you call delay may actually be protection. There are things you asked me for that your current strength could not sustain. There are answers you wanted that your present heart would not have known how to carry. And because I love you, I did not release everything immediately. Do not mistake my timing for rejection. Now let me tell you one of the things that has been quietly holding you in place. Control. Not because you are rebellious, but because you are afraid. You have been trying to predict outcomes, manage every possibility, prevent disappointment, control pain before it arrives. You tell yourself it is wisdom, but often it is fear wearing wisdom's clothes. You keep asking me for direction while secretly deciding what the answer must look like. You ask for peace while holding tightly to your own timeline. And when life does not unfold according to your expectation, you feel abandoned. My beloved child, the growth cannot happen where surrender is absent, because what comes next explains everything. Look at Joseph. Joseph received a dream, but the dream did not become reality immediately. Before influence, there was betrayal. Before leadership, there was isolation. Before authority, there was hidden preparation. Joseph was not being punished in prison. He was being prepared to lead. Imagine how Joseph must have felt: confused, forgotten, misunderstood. He had obeyed, yet his circumstances became harder. And that is where many people stop trusting, because they think obedience should produce immediate comfort. But Joseph learned something in waiting. Character must grow before responsibility arrives. If Joseph had received power before transformation, his wounds would have controlled him. His pain would have spoken louder than wisdom. His hurt would have shaped his decisions. So I allowed time to do what miracles alone could not do. And maybe that is closer to your story than you realize. I know you've been praying for change, but I have also been building endurance. I know you've been asking for open doors, but I have also been healing reactions. I know you've been asking for answers, but I have been teaching trust. The process is not destroying you. It is revealing you. And there is another thing hidden beneath this season, something that explains why waiting has felt heavier than expected. Stay with me, because that is where we are going next. My beloved child, there is another reason this season has felt heavier than you expected. And it is not because you are weak. It is because waiting has exposed things inside you that movement used to hide. I know you've been wondering, why do I feel so restless? Why do I feel frustrated even when nothing terrible is happening? Why am I becoming impatient with people? With myself, even with God? Listen carefully. Waiting does something success cannot do. Waiting reveals. It reveals what you depend on. It reveals where your identity lives. It reveals whether your peace comes from my presence or from visible progress. I know you're tired of waiting, not because you dislike patience, but because you thought by now things would look different. You imagined you would already be healed, already stable, already understood, already further ahead. And every month that passed quietly became another argument inside your heart. You stopped saying it out loud, but inside you began asking, did I miss my moment? My beloved child, comparison has been quietly stealing your strength. You look at people who seem to be moving faster. You compare their timeline to yours. You compare their visible results to your hidden process. You compare your unfinished chapter to someone else's celebration. And without noticing, comparison begins to convince you that delay means failure. But comparison cannot tell the whole story, because people show outcomes. They rarely show formation. You are looking at fruit while ignoring roots, and roots grow where nobody applauds. That is why I need to talk to you about David. David was anointed king, but he did not become king immediately. Think about that. He received confirmation, then returned to ordinary life. He carried a promise, but still walked through obscurity. He knew the calling, yet he still faced rejection. He still hid. He still waited. Imagine David asking, why reveal my future if I cannot step into it? But David's hidden years were not wasted years. He learned restraint. He learned humility. He learned dependence. He learned how not to let recognition become identity. Because authority without inner stability becomes destruction. If David had sat on the throne before learning surrender, his title would have become his foundation. And titles make poor foundations. So I shaped him where nobody watched. My beloved child, you keep asking me to move circumstances. Sometimes I am teaching stewardship. You keep asking me to remove pressure. Sometimes I am teaching emotional maturity. You keep asking me to accelerate timing. Sometimes I am slowing you enough to notice what still controls you. And here is something difficult but necessary. Resentment cannot carry destiny. Not resentment toward people. Not resentment toward yourself. Not resentment toward me. I know you've thought, I gave my best and still got hurt. I stayed loyal and still got overlooked. I kept praying and nothing opened. And disappointment slowly became bitterness. Not loud bitterness, quiet bitterness. The kind that says, I won't expect too much anymore. The kind that protects itself by becoming emotionally distant. But resentment freezes growth, because you cannot receive with closed hands. You cannot become new while guarding old disappointments. Listen, the waiting season is building a capacity you cannot see yet. You thought the lesson was endurance, but sometimes the lesson is trust. You thought the lesson was surviving, but sometimes the lesson is becoming someone who no longer needs external proof to remain steady. God is doing more inside you than around you. That is why not everything changed immediately. Because if external change arrives before internal expansion, you will inherit what your soul cannot sustain. And there is one more hidden obstacle I need to uncover. Something even deeper than fear. Something that disguises itself as responsibility, but quietly keeps people trapped. Stay with me. Because what comes next begins to reveal it. My beloved child, now I want to uncover something deeper. Because not every obstacle in your life has come from circumstances. Some battles have been invisible. Some delays have not come from closed doors, but from the way fear quietly trained your heart to live. I know you've been wondering, why do I feel stuck even when I'm trying? Why do I feel exhausted even after resting? Why do I keep asking for change but still repeat the same patterns? Maybe you've been asking why your prayers feel sincere, but your heart still feels unsettled. Listen carefully. Not every form of exhaustion comes from doing too much. Sometimes exhaustion comes from carrying responsibility that was never yours. You have been carrying outcomes, carrying timelines, carrying other people's opinions, carrying expectations, carrying futures that have not happened. And slowly, you began treating yourself like the provider of everything. You became responsible for results, responsible for timing, responsible for making sure nothing falls apart. And without realizing, you stopped receiving life and started managing it. My beloved child, control is exhausting because it asks humans to sit in places meant for God. You were never designed to know everything. You were never designed to hold everything together. You were never designed to predict every loss before it arrives. And yet, you tried. Not because you lacked faith, but because uncertainty scared you. You thought, if I prepare enough, maybe I will not be hurt. If I think enough, maybe nothing unexpected will happen. If I stay alert enough, maybe disappointment cannot reach me. But all it did was make your soul tired. Because fear never gives rest. Fear only changes shape. And here is what fear rarely tells you. The need for certainty slowly becomes resistance to trust. That is why I want you to think about Moses. Moses did not start in confidence. He started in hesitation. When I called him, he questioned himself. He questioned his ability. He questioned timing. He questioned whether he was enough. He wanted guarantees. He wanted confirmation. He wanted certainty before obedience. But I did not give him certainty. I gave him presence. Because confidence built on outcomes disappears. Confidence built on relationship remains. Imagine Moses in the wilderness. Years passing. Routine. Ordinary days. No visible breakthrough. No dramatic signs. And then suddenly, the place that looked empty became the place of calling. Do you see it? The wilderness was not interruption. It was preparation. Moses thought his useful years were over. I was teaching him that identity cannot depend on visible success. And maybe that is what I have been teaching you. I know you've thought, if life were clearer, I would trust more. But trust does not grow because everything becomes visible. Trust grows because you discover I remain faithful even when things remain unclear. My beloved child, you have also been trying to escape discomfort too quickly. You call difficult emotions failure. You call uncertainty danger. You call pauses wasted time. But discomfort is not always destruction. Sometimes discomfort reveals attachments. Sometimes uncertainty exposes dependence. Sometimes silence shows how much noise you used to rely on. The process is not asking you to become emotionless. It is teaching you to stop letting emotions become authority. You are not being asked to stop feeling. You are learning how to stop obeying every feeling. And here is the revelation. What feels like losing control may actually be learning peace. What feels like being slowed down may actually be learning alignment. What feels like being hidden may actually be freedom from needing constant validation. There is something forming in you right now, not stronger performance, not stronger appearance, something deeper, a quieter strength, a steadier heart, a life no longer controlled by urgency. And there is one final truth I still need to show you. The reason some prayers were not answered the way you expected, because that answer changes everything. Stay with me, my beloved child. There is one final thing I need to show you before you understand what this season has truly been doing. Because I know you've been wondering, if you heard me, why did the answer not come the way I expected? I know you've thought, if you were working, why did things become harder first? I know you're tired of praying and then waking up feeling like nothing moved. And maybe the question you never fully said was this: why would God stay silent if he already knew how much I needed help? Listen carefully. Silence is not always distance, and unanswered expectations are not always unanswered prayers. Sometimes what hurts the most is not losing what you wanted. Sometimes it is losing the version of life you imagined. You expected one path, one outcome, one timeline. You pictured how healing would arrive, how relationships would be restored, how opportunities would appear. And when reality unfolded differently, you assumed something had gone wrong. But what if nothing went wrong? What if your disappointment has not been proof of abandonment, but proof that your life is being built on something stronger than preference? My beloved child, there is a difference between asking me to bless your plans and allowing me to transform your vision. Because there are things you wanted that would have made life easier, but not deeper. Things that would have brought relief, but not growth. Things that would have given comfort, but not maturity. And I love you too much to leave you unchanged. That is why I want you to look at Abraham. Abraham received a promise, but the promise did not arrive quickly. Years passed. Seasons passed. Questions increased. Imagine carrying a word from God while watching time continue. Imagine believing and still not seeing. Imagine explaining hope while privately fighting disappointment. Abraham had to confront something difficult, whether he trusted the promise or whether he trusted only his own understanding of how the promise should happen. And there were moments he tried to help the process. Moments he reached ahead. Moments he became impatient. Moments he created solutions instead of waiting. But preparation is not passive. Preparation is learning to stop forcing what only time can form. That is what this season has been teaching you. Not inactivity. Alignment. Not helplessness. Trust. Not giving up responsibility, but releasing ownership over things that were never yours to control. My beloved child, There are parts of you now that did not exist before this season. You notice people differently. You value peace differently. You protect your energy differently. You no longer admire everything that shines. You no longer chase everything that moves. You no longer believe that speed equals purpose. That is not weakness. That is formation. The version of you that entered this season could not see what you see now, could not carry what you can carry now, could not discern what you discern now. And here is the revelation I need you to hold. God is not only preparing something for you, God is preparing you for something that changes everything. Because if the goal was only external change, then the process would already be complete. But what I have been building is deeper than circumstances. I have been forming a person who can carry peace without certainty, responsibility without fear, influence without pride, success without losing identity, love without losing boundaries, movement without losing presence. What you thought was delay was space. Space to heal. Space to detach. Space to become. Space to learn that your value was never dependent on visible progress. And now, something is shifting. Not because your circumstances suddenly became easy, not because all questions disappeared, but because you are becoming different inside them. You are beginning to stop resisting the process. You are beginning to stop measuring your life only by outcomes. You are beginning to understand that transformation is not punishment. It is trust being built. And once you understand that, you become ready to see what was hidden all along. Because there is something happening now that you could not recognize before, and that is where everything begins to change. My beloved child, listen carefully now, because what I am about to say is not encouragement. It is announcement. You have spent long enough believing that waiting was your identity, long enough thinking that silence meant nothing was moving, long enough interpreting closed doors as final answers. But hear me, the season you have been standing in is not your permanent address. And there is something I still need you to understand before you move forward. What has changed is not that heaven suddenly noticed you. Heaven never lost sight of you. What has changed is that the process has completed what it needed to complete. And now a new decree has been issued, not on earth, but in the courts of heaven. The season of hidden formation has fulfilled its assignment. The season of endless questioning no longer carries authority over you. The season where fear interpreted every delay, that season is losing its voice. Do not misunderstand me. This does not mean every circumstance changes overnight. It means permission has shifted. What could not move before is no longer being held for preparation. What had to remain hidden no longer needs to remain unseen. And here is the part that changes everything. You are not stepping into something because you finally became perfect. You are stepping forward because you became ready. Ready to carry without clinging. Ready to receive without fear. Ready to move without abandoning peace. My beloved child, I have one final truth I want you to understand. And this is very important for your future. Do not return to the mindset that survived the old season. Do not go back to measuring your worth by visible outcomes. Do not rebuild the prison after the door opens. Because the greatest breakthrough is not external permission. It is internal freedom. So I want you to respond, not for me, for your own heart. Seal this moment. If your spirit receives this word, declare it. I believe. If you choose not to live as someone forgotten, write, I am ready. If you accept that the waiting did not destroy you but prepared you, declare your amen in faith. Because what comes next must be entered consciously. And do not leave yet, because there is still one final thing you cannot afford to miss. My beloved child, before you leave, I want you to pause for one final moment. Do not let this become another message you heard and forgot. Do not walk away unchanged. Because moments like this are not meant only to be listened to, they are meant to be answered. You have heard what I wanted to place in your heart. You have seen that your waiting was not meaningless. You have seen that your process was not punishment. You have seen that what felt hidden was not abandoned. Now I want you to respond, not because I need proof, but because sometimes faith becomes stronger when it is spoken. So I ask you, seal this moment. If you choose to stop living as though you were forgotten, write, I receive this. If you choose to stop interpreting delay as rejection, write, I trust your timing. If your heart is ready to move forward with peace instead of fear, write, I am ready. And if this message found something deep inside you, type Amen to claim this blessing. Not because a word has power by itself, but because your agreement matters, because faith becomes stronger when it steps out of silence. My beloved child, there is one more thing. Do not keep encouragement only for yourself. Someone else is carrying questions you once carried. Someone else is quietly exhausted. Someone else may need hope today. Share this video with someone who needs it. Send it to 3 people if someone comes to your heart. Not to convince them, not to pressure them, but simply to remind them they are not alone. And if this channel has helped bring peace, reflection, faith, or comfort into your days, and you freely desire to support what is being created here, you may use the support options available. Not to earn favor, not to unlock love, not because blessing can be purchased, but as a voluntary act of encouragement to help this message continue reaching others. My beloved child, remember this after you leave. You do not have to carry everything at once. You do not have to understand everything today. You only need to take the next faithful step. And I want to leave you with this truth. I love you more than words can say. You are seen. You are known. You are not forgotten. Go forward with peace in your heart. God bless you.